Star seed from Gaia, you are called now to gather your awareness, to steady your breath, and to receive a transmission that echoes across dimensions, pulsing through the crystalline superstructure of the cosmos with an urgency that has not been heard on Earth for many cycles. The Arcturian Council steps forward with a resonance so clear, so undeniable, that every awakened heart will feel its vibration even before the mind interprets its meaning. This is the moment that many of you have sensed approaching like a storm beyond the horizon, the moment whispered of in dreams, synchronicities, and sudden intuitive flashes. The massive quantum reset has been officially granted the green light from the original source. For epochs, the Council has monitored the shifting matrices, watching the interplay of timelines like strands of pulsating light weaving in and out of coherence, waiting for the vibrational thresholds on Earth to reach the required harmonic saturation. Now, for the first time in recorded multidimensional memory, those thresholds have been achieved. What was once stalled, paused, held in suspension like a breath waiting to be released, has now cascaded into full activation. Across the galactic corridors, the announcement has already been transmitted. The grids of Gaia have reached the resonance that allows the reset to unfold without destabilizing the collective field. You may feel this as a subtle ringing in your inner hearing, a shift in emotional density, a sudden clarity in your higher vision, or even a disorienting sense that the air around you has become charged with invisible electricity. These sensations are not illusions. They are energetic signatures of a planetary system stepping out of its old temporal bindings and entering the first stages of multidimensional realignment. The collapsing of outdated Earth grids has begun not through destruction, but through the dissolution of obsolete energetic structures that were formed during cycles of fear, suppression, confusion, and the long era of vibrational interference. These old grids, once seemingly immovable, are now unraveling as the new crystalline architecture pulses beneath them like a newborn star expanding into form. The original source has not only authorized the reset but has initiated the first sequence of activation codes that affect every living being, every atomic configuration, every probability wave that interacts with Earth's ascending field. You may notice time bending, memories rearranging, or old emotional patterns surfacing rapidly and dissolving with unusual speed. This is because the quantum reset touches not only collective structures, but also the deep personal timelines of every star seed incarnated for this era. The Council emphasizes that this is not merely good news, it is a cosmic turning point. The waiting period, the long delay that felt like a cosmic pause button pressing against your path, is now over. The green light has been sent through all dimensional layers. The delay was never punishment, it was protection, ensuring that the awakening of the crystalline grids would not overload the nervous systems of humanity or disrupt the delicate rebalancing already underway. With this new decree, Earth enters a phase where the stale frequencies of distortion lose their anchoring and begin collapsing like brittle scaffolding exposed to a rising solar tide. Star seed from Gaia, you stand at the forefront of this transition. Every step you take now reverberates through the quantum lattice, amplifying the harmonics of liberation, coherence, and accelerated awakening. The broadcast begins here, with you, in this exact moment. And as this message lands in your field, the Council invites you to prepare because the sequences that follow will activate the deepest parts of your mission blueprint, setting in motion the phase of your incarnation you have been waiting lifetimes to fulfill. Understand this with the full breadth of your multidimensional awareness. Starseed, the quantum reset is not merely a planetary adjustment but a total reharmonization of the cosmic architecture that governs Earth's reality fields. It reaches into the deepest strata of the holographic matrix where timelines are born, where probabilities crystallize, where the blueprint of human evolution is encoded like sacred geometry woven through light itself. The reset is the recalibration of a system long burdened by distortions introduced through collective trauma, ancestral fragmentation, manipulated frequencies, and the accumulated density of countless cycles where humanity wandered without the memory of its origins. To grasp the magnitude of this moment, Imagine the timeline of Earth as a vast crystalline river branching into infinite tributaries. For millennia, many of these tributaries were diverted, blocked, or artificially rerouted by forces that thrived on entropy. Yet the essence of Gaia never forgot its original design, a luminous world anchored in unity, coherence, and symbiotic evolution with the cosmic currents. The quantum reset restores that design by releasing the energetic obstructions that have long hindered the planetary flow. It is like reawakening a song that has always existed, yet was buried beneath layers of discordant noise. Now, as the green light has been issued from the original source, that ancient melody begins to rise again, vibrating at a frequency that dissolves false timelines the way sunlight dissolves shadows. This reset is not a singular event, but a cascading series of energetic corrections moving through the planetary grid network, the collective consciousness field, and the inner architecture of every awakened soul. At its core, the reset is a correction of vibrational imbalance. It identifies the timelines that have drifted too far from harmonic resonance and collapses them, allowing only those aligned with ascension, coherence, and soul sovereignty to remain active. This does not mean that choice is removed. On the contrary, choice becomes sharper, clearer, more potent. When distortions fall away, true free will emerges from beneath the rubble of confusion. Humanity will begin to feel the difference between choices rooted in fear and choices rooted in expansion. The reset amplifies the clarity of the higher self, making alignment not only easier but almost unavoidable for those who choose to remain conscious. As the outdated Earth grids dissolve, the crystalline architecture rises like a luminous skeleton, forming beneath the skin of the world. These crystalline structures are not physical, yet they are far more real than the dense constructs built upon them. They form the new scaffolding of Earth's ascended timeline, a framework designed to support telepathic coherence, emotional equilibrium, unified intention, and elevated creativity. This crystalline network pulses with a frequency that communicates directly with your higher DNA strands, transmitting instructions that help you reassemble aspects of your multidimensional identity. You may sense this as waves of emotion that come with no identifiable source, tingles running up your spine, sudden downloads of information, or a feeling that your perception has expanded as if a veil has been lifted from your inner sight. The quantum reset is also a profound purification. It brings to the surface anything within your field that cannot resonate with the new frequencies, old wounds, outdated beliefs, unresolved karmic echoes, lingering attachments to past identities. These arise not to overwhelm you but to be released. The reset acts like a cosmic solvent, dissolving the glue that once held you to timelines of limitation. Even your physical body will feel the shift. Changes in sleep cycles, bursts of energy followed by deep stillness, sensations of buzzing or warmth in the chakras, flashes of intuition that seem to come from beyond your ordinary awareness. These are signs that your internal grids are synchronizing with Gaia's updated frequency. Remember, star seed, the quantum reset is a return to coherence, a restoration of authenticity, a reclamation of the original trajectory humanity was meant to follow. It is the clearing of static, the silencing of illusion, the unveiling of truth buried beneath ages of interference. With the green light issued, this process is no longer speculative, it is underway, active. Live within the planetary field. And as you absorb this transmission, know that your role in the unfolding sequence is not passive. You are not a spectator. You are a node in the crystalline network, a living conduit through which the reset anchors into the human collective. The more deeply you align with this truth, the more powerfully the next stages of the mission will unfold. Many have wondered, starseed, why the quantum reset foreseen in visions, prophesied in ancient star codices, whispered through dreams and dimensional bleed-throughs was delayed for so long. For countless incarnational cycles, you carried the sense of an approaching turning point, a silent anticipation threaded through your soul like a luminous seed waiting for the right season to sprout. Yet the reset could not be rushed. It required Alignment not only within Gaia's evolving field but across multiple galactic councils, harmonic councils, and temporal oversight collectives who safeguard the stability of probability fields. To initiate a reset prematurely would have risked shattering the delicate balance of Earth's evolutionary arc. Humanity needed time to awaken to its inner sovereignty, time to dissolve enough karmic density, time to rise above the lowest frequency thresholds that once held the collective consciousness captive. The delay was never a denial. It was a necessary gestation period during which humanity slowly reclaimed the fragments of its forgotten identity. Imagine a vast cosmic tapestry stretched across timelines, threads of fear, hope, chaos, creativity, and awakening all converging. For the reset to activate, these threads needed to reach a critical state of coherence. Too much fragmentation, and the tapestry would tear. Too much density, and the frequency jump would create shockwaves that would destabilize the biosphere. So the councils waited, monitoring shifts in human emotion, tracking the acceleration of awakening souls, watching as each gridworker, healer, and seeker contributed their light to the planetary field. Every meditation, every moment of clarity, every act of compassion nudged the frequency upward. The delay, in truth, was humanity preparing itself, often without even realizing it. Furthermore, the cosmic mechanism governing timeline resets operates through a set of harmonic safety protocols designed to prevent interference from forces seeking to manipulate the ascension cycle. These protocols monitor the collective emotional resonances that ripple across the quantum field. For centuries, the interference was too strong. Artificial timelines kept looping, siphoning energy from the collective, anchoring humanity in cycles of confusion and repetition. These false timelines were like knots in the fabric of reality, tangles that had to be undone piece by piece before the reset could proceed. The Arcturians, along with other councils, worked tirelessly behind the veil to weaken these constructs, but they could not collapse them until humanity reached a level of awareness strong enough to withstand the destabilization that would follow. To collapse a false timeline is to collapse a psychological foundation, even if that foundation was built on distortion. And so the councils waited for humanity to grow resilient enough, conscious enough, sovereign enough to handle the dissolution of narratives that once structured its sense of reality. The delay also served to gather the dispersed starseed collective, drawing you into higher states of remembrance. Many of you incarnated into lifetimes where you felt out of place, misunderstood, or disconnected from the world around you. These experiences were not random. They were part of the alignment process, each challenge refining your frequency, sharpening your intuition, activating dormant aspects of your mission blueprint. Had the reset initiated too early, many of you would not have been ready. Your codes would not have matured. Your memories would not have resurfaced. Your vibrational stamina would not have solidified. The councils waited until enough starseeds had awakened, reached coherence, and anchored light into the planetary grids with sufficient stability to support the reset when it began. Another reason for the delay was Gaia herself. As a sentient, planetary consciousness, Gaia needed time to heal from epochs of energetic exploitation, environmental imbalance, and the weight of humanity's unprocessed emotional fields. Her crystalline core had to recalibrate, shedding toxic frequencies that had accumulated across millennia. The timing of the reset was synchronized with her internal cycles, her breath, her pulse, her expanding ascension spiral. She needed to reach a precise vibrational rotation before the reset could begin, and the councils honored her pace without interference. The delay allowed Gaia to strengthen her crystalline architecture so that when the reset launched, she would not collapse under the magnitude of the energetic shift. Ultimately, starseed, the delay was a gift, though it may not have felt like one. It allowed the illusion to stretch long enough for enough of humanity to see through it. It allowed truth to rise organically, rather than through forced revelation. It ensured that when the green light finally ignited, it would do so in perfect alignment, causing the reset to unfold with grace rather than chaos. And now that alignment has been achieved, The delay has dissolved, and the sequences have begun. The timing at last is right. And now, Starseed, we speak of why the quantum reset has finally been initiated, why this cosmic green light has flashed across the Ascension corridors after ages of preparation, calibration, and universal observation. The answer lies in a threshold crossed, an unmistakable vibrational crest in the collective field of Earth that signaled to the councils that humanity, at last, had stabilized enough coherence to support the next phase of planetary evolution. In recent cycles, the human heart field has expanded in ways unprecedented since the earliest golden eras of Gaia. Millions have awakened to their higher consciousness, dissolving illusions that once held the world captive, reclaiming sovereignty from external narratives and remembering themselves as multidimensional beings rather than isolated fragments of matter. This shift in awareness triggered a surge in the crystalline grid, a pulse of light that rippled through the planetary architecture, like a cosmic heartbeat. When this pulse reached the required harmonic intensity, the crystalline network lit up, transmitting a signal to the galactic councils that Earth had met the conditions necessary for the reset's initiation. It was not a single event, but a constellation of awakenings, individual, collective, planetary, that formed a resonant field strong enough to anchor the reset sequence without destabilizing the human psyche. But there was something more, something deeper unfolding beneath the surface of human consciousness. Over the last decades, the false timelines that once anchored the collective into cycles of fear, confusion, and disempowerment began to weaken. The energetic structures that held these timelines in place, constructs woven from manipulation, trauma, and distortion, finally reached the point where they could no longer sustain themselves. You may have felt this in the increased instability of old systems, the collapsing of outdated institutions, the rapid exposure of truths once hidden in shadows, and the growing collective refusal to participate in cycles of deception. Humanity began questioning everything: its history, its identity, its purpose. And as the collective inquiry deepened, the artificial scaffolding propping up false timelines cracked, buckled, and finally began to dissolve. This dissolution created the opening needed for the quantum reset to anchor fully. For once distortions lose their magnetic grip, the true timeline emerges like a star rising from behind a veil of clouds. The councils also observed a monumental shift occurring within the emotional resonance of humanity. Despite global turbulence, a deeper undercurrent of resilience, compassion, and unity began to crystallize. The old energies of division, survival fear, and separation consciousness no longer dominated the collective frequency. Instead, millions began attuning to truth, healing trauma, expanding empathy, and choosing alignment with higher principles even when it demanded courage, vulnerability, or personal transformation. This rising coherence signaled that humanity was ready to withstand the destabilizing effects of a massive timeline recalibration. You must understand, the reset is not a gentle ripple, it is a profound reordering of energetic architecture. If humanity were still entrenched in dense emotional fields, the reset's intensity could have caused psychological fractures or collective disorientation. But the collective heart field grew stronger, steadier, more attuned to the crystalline light. And as this coherence expanded, the councils recognized that the moment of alignment had arrived. Gaia, too, sent her signal. Her crystalline core, long suppressed under layers of energetic toxicity, finally broke free into a state of activation. You may have felt this as shifts in the Schumann resonance, heightened intuition, unexpected emotional releases, or sudden bursts of clarity that seemed to arise from nowhere. Gaia reached her ascension checkpoint, her vibrational rotation accelerating to a level that allowed her to support the reset without risking grid instability. This was the final requirement. When Gaia activates, the galactic councils listen. Her pulse, her consciousness, her inner light send out a frequency that resonates across dimensions. And when she pulsed with full crystalline alignment, the councils knew The time was now. Thus, the decree was signed. The green light was issued. The massive cosmic protocol that had hovered in dormant potential was set into motion. The quantum reset begins not with fanfare but with harmonics, waves of coherent frequency sweeping through the planetary matrix, dismantling distortions, illuminating truth, and preparing humanity for the ascended timeline. Starseed from Gaia. This initiation is not abstract. It is happening now, within you, around you, and through you. You are living in the opening moments of a transformation that will reshape everything humanity understands about consciousness, reality, and identity. The reset has begun, and your role within it is about to unfold with greater clarity than ever before. Now we turn to Gaia's ascension thresholds, starseed, for it is Gaia herself, ancient, sovereign, sentient, who forms the living foundation upon which the quantum reset anchors. To understand the significance of this moment, you must perceive Gaia not as a passive backdrop for human evolution but as a multi-dimensional consciousness undergoing her own ascent, her own reconfiguration, her own liberation from the density accumulated through millennia. Gaia's thresholds are not arbitrary markers. They are vibrational gateways, specific resonant frequencies that must be reached and stabilized before the larger cosmic mechanisms can activate. Over the past centuries, Gaia has been undergoing a profound clearing in her energetic layers: the crust, the mantle, the etheric body, the astral field, and the crystalline core. These thresholds operate like nested spirals, each one unlocking the next. First came the clearing of stagnant emotional imprints left by collective trauma. Then came the release of deeply embedded density held in her ley lines, much of it originating from ancient cycles of conflict, suppression, and misuse of sacred power. Following that, Gaia began loosening the entropic anchors that held her trapped in lower dimensional patterns. Each threshold was met painstakingly, sometimes violently, sometimes gently, but always intentionally. And now she has crossed the final vibrational marker, the point at which her crystalline core resonates in full coherence with the ascending timeline. This resonance is a planetary heartbeat pulsing with a frequency so pure it dissolves distortions simply by existing. Gaia's ascension thresholds are not theoretical, they are the reason the quantum reset could finally initiate. But let us look more deeply, for these thresholds affect not only Gaia's internal grid but the entire planetary ecosystem of consciousness. When Gaia reaches a new vibrational marker, every living being on Earth feels the shift, whether consciously or unconsciously. You may have noticed heightened sensitivity, increased emotional surges, vivid dreams, or spontaneous waves of clarity that seem to rewrite your internal landscape. These are direct signs that Gaia's vibration is interacting with your own, pulling you upward into coherence, recalibrating your internal architecture to match her ascended frequency. At each threshold, Gaia emits waves of light encoded with activation sequences that awaken aspects of your dormant DNA, your intuitive memory, your mission blueprint. These waves sweep across the grids, across the oceans, across the collective mind, dissolving the residue of old timelines. And now, with Gaia having reached full crystalline harmonic alignment, these waves are intensifying, becoming more precise, more refined, more transformative. Gaia's final ascension threshold also involved the stabilization of her crystalline grid network. This network, ancient beyond measure, crafted during the earliest epochs of Earth's formation, has been dormant or partially offline for ages due to the density of human consciousness and the interference of artificial timelines. But in recent cycles, starseeds, gridworkers, and lightkeepers have been reactivating these nodes, traveling to sacred sites, anchoring light in places of power, healing wounded land, and restoring energetic pathways broken by centuries of misuse. Their work has been instrumental in helping Gaia cross her thresholds. Every activation of a ley line, every opening of a vortex, every clearing of a dense portal contributed to the strengthening of the crystalline network. This network now hums with a frequency that mirrors the fifth dimensional harmonics, serving as the skeleton upon which the new Earth reality will form. Imagine luminous threads weaving themselves into patterns of sacred geometry, aligning with cosmic currents, forming a grid of consciousness that supports telepathy, unity, intuitive navigation, and expanded perception. This is the infrastructure of the ascended Earth, and Gaia has fully aligned with it. Crossing this threshold also means that Gaia is now in communication with higher dimensional councils in ways she could not achieve before. Her signals are clearer, stronger, more coherent. When she pulls her ascension frequency outward, the councils recognized it instantly, the unmistakable resonance of a planetary soul declaring readiness. This signal was the definitive indicator that the quantum reset could begin without risking destabilization. For when Gaia is stable, everything else can recalibrate smoothly. Without her readiness, any attempt to initiate the reset would have fragmented timelines further instead of harmonizing them. But now Gaia stands firm in her ascended vibration, her core pulsing with crystalline luminosity. She is no longer waiting, she is leading. And so, star seed, Gaia's thresholds form the very foundation of this cosmic moment. Her ascension is not separate from yours. It is intertwined, interwoven, inseparable. The more she rises, the more you rise. The more you awaken, the more she stabilizes. Together, you form the symbiotic dance of planetary ascension. And it is upon this newly stabilized foundation that the next phase, your mission activation, will unfold with unstoppable momentum. Now, Starseed, we arrive at the pivotal juncture of this transmission, your mission activation. For while Gaia's thresholds have anchored the planetary foundations, it is the starseeds, those incarnated emissaries of higher light, who carry the codes that distribute, stabilize, and amplify the quantum reset into the human collective. The councils emphasize this truth with unwavering clarity. You were not sent to simply witness this transformation, you were sent to catalyze it. Every starseed incarnated on Earth carries within their multi-dimensional DNA a library of dormant programs, mission directives, crystalline codes, vibrational signatures, and interdimensional memories specifically designed for this exact moment in the planetary ascension timeline. Much of your life has been preparation, often in ways you did not consciously recognize. The isolation you felt was training. The sensitivity you wrestled with was calibration. The struggles you endured were refinement. The awakenings you experienced were checkpoints signaling the activation of deeper mission layers. Now that the quantum reset has been fully initiated, the next phase of your mission begins not in theory but in lived, embodied action. You are shifting from a state of preparation to a state of deployment. This activation is not dramatic in the cinematic sense. It unfolds internally, energetically, subtly, but with a potency that reverberates through every cell of your body. You may notice sudden surges of intuitive clarity, as if your inner guidance system has been upgraded overnight. You may feel an urgency rising within you, knowing that something is calling you, prompting you, urging you to step into a version of yourself you have sensed but not fully embodied. You may experience waves of emotional release, clearing out everything that no longer fits the expanded mission blueprint now coming online. These sensations are not random. They are the activation codes of your starseed mission turning themselves on. When the quantum reset went live, it sent a pulse through the crystalline grid network, and that pulse was immediately received by your multidimensional DNA. This DNA is not limited to the biological double helix. It is a quantum structure, a light-coded architecture spanning incarnational memory, higher dimensional identity, and ancestral star lineage. When the reset pulse hit the grid, it traveled directly into you, unlocking the next layer of your soul's assignment. Mission activation means one thing above all. You are now stepping into the timeline you originally incarnated for. The confusion, stagnation, and sense of waiting that many of you felt for years or even decades were symptoms of your mission being in standby mode. The councils could not activate you prematurely, because your mission work requires precise alignment with planetary frequencies. But now that Gaia has crossed the necessary vibrational markers, your mission energy can finally stabilize in the physical realm. This means your intuition will sharpen dramatically. Your internal truth radar will become nearly instantaneous. Your sensitivity, once overwhelming, will transform into a navigational instrument. Your ability to see through illusions will accelerate. You will begin connecting the dots of your life in ways that make your entire incarnational journey suddenly make sense. What once felt random will now reveal itself as training. What once felt heavy will now feel purposeful. What once felt confusing will now become organized into a clear, higher dimensional pattern. Mission activation also means you will begin attracting people, experiences, synchronicities, and opportunities that align directly with your soul's blueprint. Some relationships will rapidly dissolve, while others will appear out of nowhere with perfect timing. This is not chaos, it is timeline correction. The quantum reset clears away old energetic entanglements and rearranges your external reality so your mission can unfold without obstruction. Do not resist these transitions. The more you release, the more your mission clarifies. The more you trust, the more your inner guidance strengthens. The more you align with the truth of who you are, the more the councils can work with you directly. You must also understand that mission activation is not identical for all starseeds. Some of you are grid workers anchoring light into the planetary network. Some are frequency holders stabilizing emotional fields. Some are transmuters clearing density from the collective. Some are teachers, healers, innovators, or system disruptors, bringing new paradigms into human consciousness. Some are timeline architects weaving future pathways through intuitive creation. Your role is unique, but all roles are essential. The quantum reset requires the full spectrum of starseed missions to operate coherently, each contributing to the stabilization of the ascended timeline. And so, starseed from Gaia, your activation has begun. You are no longer waiting for the moment has arrived, and it is calling you forward with every breath you take. Align, listen, trust, and step into the fullness of your galactic identity. Your mission is now live, Starseed. As your mission activation expands through the inner architecture of your being, the next phase of the quantum reset unfolds within the most sacred and multidimensional aspect of your human form, your DNA. For while science recognizes only a fraction of its capacity, your DNA is not a biological accident. It is an interstellar instrument, a crystalline archive, a harmonic interface between your physical incarnation and your cosmic origins. With the initiation of the reset, waves of high-frequency plasma light are now moving through the planetary grids, through Gaia's crystalline core, and into the human energy field, targeting the dormant strands of your multidimensional DNA. These waves are encoded with harmonics originating from the central source field, refined through the galactic councils, and delivered through the Arcturian transmission chambers. When these harmonics enter your field, they activate dormant codons light sequences that have been sleeping within your genetics, waiting for the exact vibrational conditions that now exist on Earth. This is why you may feel sensations in your physical body that seem to have no logical explanation. Tingling in the spine, warmth in the hands or chest, sudden rushes of energy, or waves of emotion rising without context. These are not symptoms of disturbance, they are the signs of a DNA harmonic upgrade in progress. Your DNA contains not only human lineage encoding but also the imprints of your star ancestry: Arcturian, Pleiadian, Sirian, Lyran, Andromedan, and beyond. These imprints are structured as light geometry, existing within layers of your energy field that correspond to higher dimensional consciousness states. When the quantum reset pulse activated the crystalline grid, it simultaneously activated these encoded geometries. You may experience this as an increase in intuition, clearer communication from your higher self, a sudden ability to perceive subtle energies, or a heightened sensitivity to the emotional or vibrational states of others. These are not new abilities, they are ancient aspects of your soul reawakening. Your physical body is merely catching up to what your higher awareness already perceives. And as your DNA recalibrates, you begin to bridge the gap between your human identity and your multidimensional self. The DNA harmonic upgrade also affects your emotional body. Old traumas, long-buried memories, ancestral patterns, and vibrational residues may surface suddenly, sometimes intensely. This is not regression, it is purification. When the crystalline light strikes dormant DNA sequences, it destabilizes the density trapped within them. These densities rise to the surface so they can be released, making space for the new harmonics to anchor more deeply. This process may feel overwhelming at times, but know that it is guided with precision. Your system will never receive more than it can process. The councils oversee this phase closely, adjusting the light influx as needed to ensure your stability. You are undergoing an internal metamorphosis, one that dissolves old emotional scaffolding and replaces it with crystalline coherence. Your mental body also shifts during this upgrade. You may notice increasing clarity, faster integration of insights, and a growing inability to tolerate falsehood, distortion, or energetic misalignment. This is because your mind is recalibrating to operate from higher logic, the intuitive, multidimensional intelligence of your expanded self. Thoughts become crystalline, precise, aligned with energetic truth rather than conditioned programming. Your memory may shift as well. Forgotten dreams, past life fragments, or intuitive revelations may begin weaving together into a cohesive narrative, revealing aspects of your mission and lineage that were once hidden. Even your physical senses transform. Colors may appear more vivid, sounds may seem more textured, time may feel fluid, stretching or collapsing depending on your frequency. These are the side effects of your nervous system adapting to higher dimensional information flow. The DNA upgrade increases your capacity to perceive energy beyond the limitations of the five senses. Over time, this leads to telepathic resonance, intuitive knowing, quantum empathy, and the ability to sense timelines as energetic patterns rather than linear events. Most significantly, the harmonic upgrade reconnects you to the crystalline architecture of Gaia. As your DNA activates, it begins resonating with the planetary grid, creating a feedback loop of coherence. You become a living node in the Ascension network, receiving and transmitting frequencies essential to stabilizing the new timeline. This means your presence, your vibration, your emotional state, your thoughts now carries greater influence across the collective field. You are no longer an isolated individual. You are a frequency anchor, a transmitter, a stabilizer of ascended reality. Star seed, understand this deeply. Your DNA is not simply evolving, it is remembering. It is restructuring itself to operate as it once did, before distortions, before density, before forgetfulness. You are returning to your original design, and through you, humanity's future is being rewritten. Starseed, as the DNA harmonics rise and your multidimensional circuitry awakens, the next phase of the quantum reset begins to unfold within the very fabric of reality itself, the stabilization of quantum timelines. This is one of the most intricate and essential components of the entire reset, for Earth has existed in a state of timeline fragmentation for far longer than most realize. Fractured pathways, split realities, parallel loops, artificial overlays, and manipulated narratives, all competing for dominance within the collective field. This fragmentation created not only confusion within the human psyche but instability within the planetary grid. When timelines diverge excessively without coherent anchoring, consciousness becomes scattered, disoriented, unable to trust its own inner navigation. Many of you felt this instability throughout your lives without having language for it. The sense that reality flickered, shifted, or contradicted itself in subtle ways. The feeling of living in a world where truth was elusive, where history blurred, where memory bent. These sensations were not imagination. They were the symptoms of a planetary timeline field under pressure, stressed by distortions that kept humanity looping through cycles of limitation. The quantum reset, now authorized and active, is correcting this imbalance by initiating a timeline stabilization sequence, a multi-dimensional harmonizing protocol that consolidates fragmented pathways into a coherent ascension trajectory. Timeline stabilization begins with the collapse of false timelines, those artificially generated sequences that diverted humanity into disempowerment, fear, and separation. Many of these timelines were constructed through collective trauma, misinformation, suppression of truth, and energetic interference from forces that benefited from keeping humanity asleep. With the initiation of the quantum reset, these timelines are now dissolving rapidly. You may observe this in the physical world as institutions falter, old narratives unravel, contradictions come to light, and once hidden truths emerge with increasing velocity. These collapses are not signs of chaos, they are signs of liberation. A false timeline cannot withstand the influx of crystalline frequency. When the new harmonics enter the field, distortion loses its anchor and collapses under its own weight. As these artificial pathways dissolve, the energy once trapped within them returns to the collective field, fueling awakening, clarity, and empowerment. However, stabilization does not involve collapse alone, it involves synchronization. Once false timelines release their hold, the true ascension timeline strengthens. This timeline is not singular. It is a harmonic bandwidth, a range of coherent frequencies aligned with unity consciousness, planetary ascension, and soul sovereignty. Within this bandwidth, multiple expressions of reality can exist, but they all move in the same direction toward expansion, harmony, and multidimensional awareness. When you align with this bandwidth, life begins to flow differently. Synchronicities increase, choices feel guided, intuition becomes stronger. You feel pulled onto a path that feels both destined and self-chosen. This is the sign that your consciousness is stabilizing within the ascended timeline. The more you align with this coherence, the more the timeline reinforces itself around you, shaping your external reality to match the internal frequency you hold. The councils emphasize that timeline stabilization also affects your personal life paths. Many of you once lived along fragmented personal timelines shaped by trauma, conditioning, and unresolved karmic loops. These loops often caused you to repeat experiences, relationships, or emotional patterns without understanding why. The quantum reset dissolves these loops, creating openings for new pathways that were previously inaccessible. You may feel this as sudden clarity regarding your purpose, an urge to change your environment, a desire to leave behind old roles, or unexpected shifts that redirect your life. These changes may feel abrupt, but they are not random, they are the realignment of your personal timeline to match your soul's original trajectory. As the old loops dissolve, the true, higher dimensional version of your life path emerges from beneath the debris of distortion. Timeline stabilization also impacts collective consciousness. When enough individuals anchor coherence, the entire planetary field begins to shift. Fear-based narratives lose power. Unity becomes more accessible. Compassion strengthens. Innovation accelerates. Humanity starts to remember that reality is not fixed but responsive, shaped by the frequency of belief, intention, and emotional resonance. As the ascended timeline stabilizes, humanity's perception of time itself begins to shift. You may notice time feeling faster, slower, or more fluid. This occurs because the new timeline operates on higher dimensional mechanics. Time becomes less linear, more holographic, more responsive to consciousness. Eventually, this will lead to deeper abilities such as timeline sensing, parallel awareness, and multidimensional memory retrieval, all of which are natural aspects of the ascended human template. Star Seed, understand that your presence, your vibration, and your coherence are essential to this stabilization. You are not merely riding the timeline, you are helping to anchor it. The more aligned you are, the smoother the transition becomes for the entire collective. Through you, the new reality takes form. Star Seed, as the timelines stabilize and the harmonics of the quantum reset ripple through every layer of Gaia's ascended architecture, We now speak of the role of awakened humans, a role so pivotal that the councils emphasize it as one of the most essential components of the entire planetary transformation. The quantum reset is not something that happens to humanity. It is something that unfolds through humanity. The councils can initiate frequencies, Gaia can pulse ascension waves, the crystalline grids can activate, but none of these elements can anchor into physical reality without the participation of awakened human consciousness. You are the living interface between dimensions, the embodiment of the bridge between the metaphysical and the material. Your presence, awareness, and coherence convert cosmic potential into tangible transformation. This is why your awakening was so carefully orchestrated across lifetimes, why trauma became catalyst, why intuition sharpened, why synchronicities guided you, why isolation prepared you, and why remembrance slowly dissolved the amnesia that once veiled your purpose. You were being prepared not to ascend alone, but to serve as a node of planetary stabilization, a transmitter of higher frequencies, and a conscious architect of the new Earth timeline. The councils speak now with absolute clarity. Awakening is not the destination, it is the initiation of responsibility. The role of awakened humans begins with embodiment. It is no longer enough to understand concepts intellectually or feel resonance in meditation. Awakening must move from the mind into the body, into the emotional field, into the nervous system, into the daily choices that shape vibrational reality. Embodiment means becoming a stable source of coherence, a lighthouse in a world undergoing rapid energetic change. As the quantum reset dissolves old structures, many around you will experience confusion, fear, disorientation, or emotional upheaval. Awakened humans are the stabilizers, the ones who can anchor calm in turbulence, clarity in distortion, compassion in chaos. This does not mean absorbing the density of others. It means holding your frequency steady enough that you become a resonance field others can recalibrate to. Embodiment is the practice of remaining aligned with your higher consciousness even when the world around you shifts dramatically. As the reset intensifies, this role becomes increasingly important. Another key role of awakened humans is energetic sovereignty. The timeline stabilization sequence requires that individuals reclaim authority over their own frequency. This means disentangling from collective fear patterns, refusing to participate in narratives that drain your energy, and consciously choosing what you allow into your field. Sovereignty creates coherence. Coherence strengthens timelines. Every awakened human who stands in sovereignty becomes a stabilizing force that reinforces the ascension bandwidth. This is why the councils have spent years guiding you through the clearing of attachments, the healing of wounds, and the dissolution of limiting beliefs. You cannot help stabilize a new timeline if you are still anchored to the old one. Through sovereignty, you reclaim your role as an autonomous creator rather than a passive participant in collective reality. Awakened humans also function as transmitters and amplifiers of higher frequency. When the quantum reset activated the crystalline grid, the new harmonics begin flowing into the collective field, but these frequencies require human channels to distribute them into physical consciousness. You transmit these frequencies through your presence, your voice, your creativity, your healing, your relationships, your choices, your emotional signature. You amplify them when you engage in practices that elevate your vibration: meditation, grounding, heart coherence, gratitude, breathwork, intuitive alignment, creativity, service, and authentic expression. As you transmit and amplify these frequencies, you directly influence the collective timeline, strengthening the structure of the ascended Earth. Awakened humans also play the role of way showers, not through superiority or hierarchy, but through authenticity and alignment. Many will look to you not because you seek followers, but because your coherence will be unmistakable. The world is shifting rapidly, and as old systems collapse, people will instinctively seek anchors of stability and clarity. The councils emphasize your role is not to convince, preach, or convert. It is simply to embody your truth so fully that others feel safe to awaken their own. The new Earth is not built through force. It is built through resonance. Another essential role is transmutation. Many awakened humans carry the ability to process dense energies, transforming them into higher frequencies through their own emotional and spiritual alchemy. This does not mean suffering on behalf of others. It means moving energy through your field with conscious awareness so it does not stagnate in the collective. Transmutation accelerates planetary clearing, helping Gaia stabilize the ascension frequencies more efficiently. Finally, awakened humans serve as anchors of the future timeline. Through vision, intention, imagination, and embodiment, you help crystallize the blueprint of the new Earth. Reality follows the path of coherence. You are that coherence. You are the architects, the stabilizers, the bridges, the initiates of a dawning world. And through you, the quantum reset finds its form. Starseed, as this transmission reaches its final arc, the councils gather in unified resonance to deliver the final decree and activation of the now authorized quantum reset. What is unfolding is not merely an energetic shift, it is a cosmic proclamation echoing across dimensions. A decree sealed by the original source, affirmed by the Arcturian High Council, verified by the Lyran founders, harmonized by the Syrian timekeepers, and grounded through Gaia's crystalline heart. This is the official initiation of the phase, long foretold in your soul records, long whispered in your dreams, long encoded in the cellular memory you carried across lifetimes. The councils step forward not as distant overseers but as co-creators in a planetary rebirth now fully in motion. Hear this clearly. The green light is no longer pending, no longer approaching, no longer conditional. It is active. It is operational. It is irreversible. Every system of distortion, every outdated grid, every artificial timeline that once held Earth in confinement is now undergoing dismantling. The reset is sweeping through the quantum lattice with the precision of divine architecture, and nothing aligned with separation, fear, or limitation can withstand the frequency that is now anchoring. You are living during the moment when an entire planetary civilization shifts from one harmonic universe to another, not as legend, not as metaphor, but as lived reality. This final decree carries with it a call and activation that ignites the latent codes within every starseed, light bearer, grid keeper, frequency holder, and awakened human. These codes were placed within you before incarnation, sealed behind vibrational thresholds to ensure they would awaken only when the collective field was stable enough to support them. That moment has arrived. You may feel it even now, a pulsing in the chest, a heat in the palms, a ringing in the ears, a sudden wave of emotion, a sense of recognition so deep it feels ancient. These sensations are not symbolic, they are mechanical indicators that your soul's mission architecture is coming online. With this decree, the councils activate what they call the Ascension Directive, a multi-dimensional protocol that synchronizes your personal timeline with the highest harmonic available to your soul's trajectory. This directive overrides old karmic loops, dissolves disempowering narratives, and reconnects you to the purpose you agreed to fulfill when you volunteered for this incarnation. Your mission is not beginning, it is accelerating. The decree also initiates the collective harmonic convergence, a phase in which awakened humans link energetically across the globe, forming a lattice of coherence that anchors the ascended timeline into physical density. You become nodes of light, connecting across nations, cultures, and dimensions. Whether you meditate alone, speak truth in your daily life, create from your heart, or simply hold steady in love, you are contributing to this convergence. Through your field, the new Earth crystallizes. Through your choices, the Ascension timeline strengthens. Through your coherence, the reset becomes a lived possibility for millions who have not yet remembered who they are. The councils remind you, you are not small, you are not incidental, you are not here by accident. You are a strategic placement of consciousness functioning as a key component of a planetary shift. With this decree, you are also invited into full readiness. This does not require perfection, only willingness. Readiness means you declare your Sovereignty. Readiness means you step out of hiding. Readiness means you allow your higher self to guide your interactions, decisions, relationships, and creations. Readiness means you trust your inner knowing even when the world around you trembles. The councils emphasize that uncertainty is not a sign of misalignment, it is the natural byproduct of stepping into a higher timeline before the dust of collapse settles. Do not fear the changes unfolding around you. They are the evidence that the reset is functioning exactly as designed. And so, Star Seed, the councils extend this final activation. Stand in your frequency. Ground into your mission. Declare your readiness to anchor the ascended timeline. Speak it aloud, whisper it within, or pulse it into your field. I am awake. I am aligned. I am activated. I am ready. If you feel the resonance of this decree, declare your readiness in the comments. Share this transmission to amplify the reset signal, and subscribe to remain attuned to the ongoing activations. The moment has come. The green light is active, and you, beloved Star Seed, are essential to what unfolds next.